Iowa is set to release results from last night's caucus today after chaos and confusion unfolded last night. Candidates rallied supporters despite the major delay. Most of the candidates have left Iowa overnight, and they flew straight to New Hampshire, where the nation's first primary kicks off in 1 week. Iowa's Democratic Party cited inconsistencies in the reporting of 3 sets of results for causing the delay. In a new statement out this morning, officials also blamed the coding issue in the reporting system. They also said pre-planned backup measures were used to record accurate information. For more on this, let us bring in CBS News Chief Washington correspondent Major Garrett. He is with me now from Des Moines, Iowa. Major, I know you've been doing this all morning long, but help our viewers understand how Iowa was supposed to give us a clearer picture of the crowded Democratic race. And now you've got this monumental meltdown. What kind of impact are we looking at on the state and the 2020 season moving forward?
Well, first thing, Vlad, you mentioned in the intro, results today. Maybe, but maybe not. In that statement you just referred to, the Iowa Democratic Party did not commit absolutely to releasing final results today. It said it's hope, but the most important aspect of their judgment on whether to release those numbers or not will be their absolute accuracy. And Vlad, that's all the Iowa Democratic Party has left. If you're going to be hours and hours late and make a complete mess of your Iowa caucus process, well, in the end, when you report those numbers, they better be accurate and they better be absolutely verifiable. That's all that there is left. I mean, think about this. Whatever the final turnout was, 180,000, more than that, you had at least, according to entrance polls, 1/3 of the caucus attendees who'd never done this before. And what were they promised? An experience like no other to set this entire Democratic nomination process in motion and to have a valid and memorable experience in the Iowa Democratic caucus. Well, it'll be memorable, but for all the wrong reasons. As to its effect, historically, Iowa has been a springboard. Not anymore, at least not now. It's a belly flop. Nobody knows who won. Nobody knows who came in second. Nobody knows who has any momentum. And as you mentioned, Vlad, many Democratic candidates have already left for New Hampshire, literally leaving Iowa in the dust, metaphorically and statistically. Nobody came here to compete in the to-be-determined caucuses. They came here to compete in the Iowa caucuses. And they don't have a result. Nobody has a result. When it comes, it will be, to put it mildly, anticlimactic.
And Major, I noted in your reporting the millions of dollars spent, the years that some of these campaigns have spent on the ground, dozens of corn dogs, if not more, that candidates had to eat over the course, to ingratiate themselves with Iowans, and I'm just wondering, is there a way for the campaigns to positively spin this? In other words, if the results don't come in today, or even if they do come in and they are suspect, at least they are suspect from the campaign's point of view, does that give that campaign and its supporters a little bit more, do they live to fight another day?
Right. So scientists would tell you, Vlad, that nature abhors a vacuum. Well, politicians may like it. Why? Because politicians can pour whatever spin they want to in this complete vacuous situation. There's no data. Nobody knows anything. So why don't you say I won, or I did really well, or I exceeded expectations? Nobody knows what the results are, so you can make your own expectations. You can declare your own victory. Mayor Pete Buttigieg has already done that. There's a hashtag that's sort of following him, not Mayor Pete, but Mayor Cheat, because people say, how can you declare victory when we don't know the numbers? Be that as it may, politicians will do what they can do to shape what just happened, or what we think, or what they hope might have just happened. It leaves a wide lane open for them. But there's a deeper question, Vlad. What is the validity going forward of this process? There's been a long-running debate in Democratic Party circles. Why does Iowa go first? I'm telling you, that debate will intensify because many Democrats say it's kind of older, it skews heavily white, it's not diverse enough. Why should Iowa go first? And Iowa's always protected itself as first in the nation caucus. That's been a bipartisan thing. You're seeing some of that this morning. But it feels very much like that question is going to be asked with a kind of aggressiveness and skepticism that the Iowa caucus process has never had visited upon it before. And one other thing, Vlad, to keep in mind. Let's go back to 2016. When Bernie Sanders narrowly lost by 0.3 of a point to Hillary Clinton here. That began to sow the sense among Sanders supporters that they were getting a raw deal. Whatever the final results are here, all the campaigns will have some reason to be suspicious about this data. And they better, the Iowa Democratic Party, provide absolute verification, because if it doesn't, not just the Sanders folks who have a sense of suspiciousness about the Democratic National Committee in general, other campaigns may find fault and say this process did not live up to either promises or expectations, and that debate could continue and bring very harsh criticism to this Iowa Democratic Caucus process.
And finally, Major, I got to ask you, the president has tweeted that there's only one winner in Iowa, Trump. You know, is the president right? You know, look, I don't want, you know, I think there's a risk in sort of saying that the state of Iowa is a mess, and because people are tweeting, look, you know, the Democratic Party can't even run a caucus properly. How can they manage health care? But does the president have a point in saying, look, the president, he and his surrogates are going to take to Twitter and take to the airwaves and point this out, and
sure,
you know, these things can have legs.
Sure. Is the embarrassment real? Absolutely. Were promises made that were not kept by the Iowa Democratic Party? Absolutely. Did the Iowa Democratic Party have a sense of hubris and overconfidence about what it could do, collecting all this data and reporting it? Absolutely. Does that reflect poorly on the Iowa Democratic Party? Yes, it does. Does it mean the entire process of picking a Democratic nominee has stumbled out of the gate? All that is true. The president likes to call Democrats do nothing. They would not say that's true. They would say we passed lots of bills. They're dying in the Senate. But one thing that could be said is this is a count nothing Iowa Democratic Party, at least so far. And criticism from Republicans will be sharp, and many Trump supporters will say, yeah, there's something wrong. Does it mean that health care can't be done? Medicare for all? No, it doesn't. But it creates an opening. And as I mentioned a moment ago, politicians always seize upon openings when they're available. And this one is quite readily and visibly available.
Major Garrett, so are you. I watched you all night long. I watched you on both hours of CBS This Morning, and you stuck around to hang out with us on CBSN. I really, really appreciate it, Major.
You got it. See ya.
All right.
Thanks.